Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, as we continue to navigate the world as Black African descended people, and if you're not African descended, I'm not talking to you, we still have work to do on ourselves. Now, Black women have been very open about colorism and how colorism affects Black women of different shades. Dark skinned Black women being the most affected by colorism. In Black men, dark skin has been likened to strength and masculinity and desirability. That's what they say. But in reality, being dark skinned has taken a toll on Black men too. And it's only recently that they have started talking about it. We're all coping with it in different ways. But colorism is a real problem in the Black American community for sure. Colorism is a problem worldwide, but at least we will confront it head on in America. So I'm going to let you listen to some videos about dark-skinned Black men, about how they feel about their dark skin. And then I want to come back and talk about something that has been bothering me for some time.
For many years, I struggled, if not hated, the way I look. My skin color. Not because I'm Black, but because I was so dark, and I got picked on a lot because of it. And it scarred me, it hurt me, it crushed my self-esteem. It made me feel like, that I hated myself. So I just want to tell you, don't let the voices or the opinions of others dictate to you how you feel about yourself. People are going to pick, people are going to laugh, people are going to do whatever, they're going to have their comments, and I wish that weren't the case, but it is. So I want to just tell you, get all the conceit and arrogance and self-confidence you can about yourself, and you build that mountain as high as you can. Because how you feel about you is the utmost important feeling when it comes to that topic. So, feel good about you. Feel damn good about you.
And that's very good advice. Feel as good as you can about yourself. One of the things that we do talk about is how Black women are affected by colorism. But these things begin in the home. If you're in a home where you're allowed to call somebody you old black dog or you black this or laugh because somebody is very dark skinned, that is the beginning of you becoming a colorist. In my home, and I think this is some good advice, we in our family could never call anybody black. This was before the Black is Beautiful and I'm Black and I'm Proud days. These were the days when people were not proud of being Black, but my mother had a very strict rule. You couldn't call anybody any kind of derogatory name. You couldn't call anybody stupid. You couldn't call them dumb. You couldn't call them Black. You couldn't call anybody nappy-headed. You couldn't call anybody ugly. You couldn't call anybody poor. Like at school, there would be kids who wouldn't have the things that they needed, and some kids would call other kids poor, and none of us were rich. But you couldn't call anybody poor. You couldn't say anything even remotely derogatory about anybody in that household because my mother didn't play when it came to things like that. Our father didn't whip us, but our mother would tear us up.
I hated my skin, hated my complexion, hated anything that had to do with me being this dark. Literally, I used to edit my pictures to try to look lighter. First of all, thank you guys so much. I really and truly appreciate that. But I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. And so for you guys who don't know, I was born in Gambia, West Africa, and I came to the US in 2010. So I would say from about 2010 to 2015, I hated my skin, hated my complexion, hated anything that had to do with me being this dark. Literally, I used to edit my pictures to try to look lighter. I used to get made fun of so much for being dark. Like, it went to the point where I literally was so insecure with how I looked physically, that like it was nice that I was literally crying myself to sleep. But I had to build myself back up. I had to build my confidence back up. I had to start working out. I started to feel so much more comfortable in my skin. And I decided to start modeling. I decided to start creating content because I wanted to inspire other young men and women that look like me to feel comfortable in their own skin, and to let them know that regardless of where you start, regardless of what you look like, you can achieve immense amount of success. I've been on TVs, I've modeled for some of my favorite brands. Ultimately, my platform is just to help inspire people to just live healthier, live happier, and really feel comfortable with themselves. Appreciate and admire yourself and admire your beauty. So it's just funny how the same thing that they used to make fun of me for is the same thing now that is basically creating a career for me, you know. And for any dark skin or anybody in general that's out there that's just feeling like they can't love themselves, just love yourself and just understand that God made you to be who you are. There are so many people that are bleaching their skin up to this day to appear lighter, damaging their skin. And all that stems from not knowing how to love yourself and not appreciating your beauty. I now love and appreciate my skin more than anything. And it's not even just from compliments, but I feel so blessed to just be me and be in my body. Like, God made me to be this way, and I am so appreciative because I truly and really love my skin tone. I love my complexion now. I love everything about me, honestly. And it's not to say it in an egotistical way. I really just love me for me. And I'm not dependent on what anyone has to say for me to accept myself for who I am. Thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. And follow me. And for the new people that follow me, let's keep it going.
Well, I will admit that I have been surprised by how colorism seems to affect Africans on the continent. You would think that if anybody is proud to be Black, it would be them, but they're not. The skin bleaching industry in Africa is in the billions of dollars, with Nigerians being the biggest consumers. It is the largest country in Africa, with 77% of Nigerians bleaching their skin. That means it's men and women bleaching their skin. I know that white supremacy is responsible for some of this. I don't know how much, but certainly white supremacy is responsible for some of this self hatred. But at what point do we push back and say, we're not doing this? There's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with our skin. And what we should do is focus on loving ourselves and loving each other. When do we get to that point? Because ultimately, colorism affects the relationships that we have with each other, women and women, men and men, and men and women. It affects all of us, and it affects the way we interact with each other.
I've been seeing a lot of discourse, a lot of stitches, a lot of videos on my video about dating dark-skinned women. And I even seen women in the comment section saying that I don't date dark-skinned women in Chocolate City, where dark-skinned women come to feel loved. Hey, I'm happy with who I'm dating right now, so let's not get into my dating history. Let's talk about the fact that they keep on saying that I wouldn't understand a dark-skin experience because I'm a man and not a woman. I'm going to need y'all to really wake up. And this is why I always say that y'all don't think men are human. I've seen all these people talk about their life experiences as a dark-skinned woman. I'm 30 years old, about to be 31 years old. And I grew up in a most colorist generation. The most colorist generation. These people nowadays wouldn't even understand the stuff that used to come out of people's mouth. I went to 8 different schools in 5 different school districts, and I was made fun of in every single one. The only reason that I'm even funny to this day is because I had to joan back. A lot of women in school didn't even deal with me until I got popular at that school. And the only reason I was even popular is because I was funny, because I was an athlete, or because I was in a go-go band, I was a creative. And even then, a lot of the women would deal with me behind the scenes just to say that they did it as a trend, but then go back to dealing with light-skinned men. And that wasn't even something that just happened in high school or in middle school. This continued to happen all the way up through my 20s. So I don't want to hear none of this stuff. Every time I've dated, and the reason I said that opposites attract is because my experience is that every time I tried to talk to a brown-skinned woman or a dark-skinned woman, they was not fucking with me until I got popular. Every single time. I'm seeing dark-skinned and brown-skinned women walk up to me that I used to slide in their DMs. And now that I'm popular, they in my face. Y'all think I don't notice these things? Y'all think I don't see the fact that a girl that I just dated earlier this year, she used to tell me that she didn't want to tell her friends about me. She didn't want to tell anybody that she was dating me. But then I seen her ear to ear smiling in front of a light-skinned nigga facing the party. Happy to be outside with him. But every time she see me in a party, we got to act like we don't know each other, but then we got to go back to the same apartment. Y'all think I don't know these things? Y'all don't think that I've sat in the car with a woman who told me that, oh, I don't like real attractive men. I don't like pretty boys. I like dark-skinned men. You don't think that I've sat in the car with women that told me to my face that, oh, I'm not usually into conventionally attractive men. I'm into you. Y'all don't think that I had these experiences at work? I worked in a restaurant. They put me right in the back. They told me that they put the servers in the front because they pretty. I worked in Petco. They put the cash register people, they put women and light-skinned men in the front at the cash register at a pet store. And I was back there with the reptiles and the snakes and the goddamn fish. I've worked in offices. Now that I work in Virginia, I have people that profile me, that tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, that double, triple, quadruple check my work, that tell me that I'm not doing enough. I got to go harder. I got to be smarter. I got to actually go the extra mile to seem smarter than my colleagues just because I'm dark-skinned. I got white people at work that tell me, no, I have a black man at home. Like, I would never think that about you. You look at their goddamn partner and their partner is beige. That is not a black man. Come on, man. Y'all got to stop this. Y'all got to stop acting like, oh, you wouldn't get it because dark-skinned men are already overmasculated and that's looked at as attractive. I don't want to be overmasculated. I don't want to be a toxic masculine man. Why is it that I have a pug and everybody tell me every day that, oh, I thought you would have had a pit bull or a Rottweiler? What's up with that? What's up with the fact that every time that I was dating in my 20s, they used to say, oh, yeah, you probably a fuck boy. Like, you're not the type that you settle down with. Why? I'm smart. I'm handsome. I'm goofy. I'm funny. I walk around smiling every day. Y'all see how I always got something on my head? This ain't because, oh, he bald. No, because if I don't have a haircut and it's over 2 days old, I notice that people start saying I look dusty. And on this app, you got to be attractive, just like everywhere else in my fucking life, where if I wasn't clean cut down to a T, shaved and with a low haircut, then I was looked at as dusty. When you dark skinned, if you're not a celebrity or an actor, like an athlete, your dark skin don't shine like a crystal or a gem. You're dusty. You look like dirt. These people are not your friends. That's why you think that I really don't care what y'all be saying to me. I've been dealing with this my whole life. My family even told me that my own family members will put me out there to cut their grass and do yard work and wouldn't let my brother do the same thing. He'd be in the house just because he light-skinned. I grew up with a light-skinned brother, and my own family, I'm not going to say who, but has told me that my direct family treats my brother different than they treated me. And I seen it firsthand. Y'all got to stop this.
Where do we begin overcoming this and just loving each other and loving ourselves as we are? Where do we begin? Y'all let me know what you think about it. Thank you for listening and have a good evening.